everybody is so concerned and uptight and all this. And I'm thinking, we really need to quit being warriors. We need to be, excuse me, I said that wrong. I already messed it up.
No, it sounds good.
Not to be warriors, okay, right? I don't need to be warriors. We need to be warriors.
Yeah.
So don't be a warrior, be a warrior because that is where you're going to find your power. Take all that energy that you're upset with and you're fighting with people on Facebook or whatever and X and stuff and turn that into what you really need to do. You need to be in this fight, so to speak, and let your voice be known because that's the only way we're going to save our country and have freedom. It's not, they keep saying, "Oh, you're a MAGA, you're in a cult and you worship Trump." No, that's couldn't be further from the truth. So don't be a worrier. That's my theme today. Be a don't be a worrier. Be a don't be I'm saying it wrong, warrior. Be a warrior. I know it's hard to distinguish. They sound so much the same, but we want to be fighters. Did that make sense at all to you,
Oh, it
Zeke?
makes perfect sense. It makes me think of like how exciting being in politics is and how radically uh, different we can make things just by one person, two people, and then to contrast that, it's like why is everybody focusing on like Beyonce? Why does everybody care about like baseball and football? It's like that. I mean, our brain is wired to go at war, right? Which is kind of a cool little expression of it through sports. I get it, but like the real war is like with ourselves and in our communities, and I don't mean that violently, of course, non-violent always, but
Correct.
this is so exciting. There's so much to do that we need to rally. There's just so much to do. Like I can't believe. I can't imagine seeing myself playing video games or watching Netflix. And no offense to you guys out there, I know everybody else out there does that, but I'm kind of challenging you guys to get out of your comfort zone a little bit because she's right. You don't got to be a warrior. You should be a warrior. And one, because we need the help, and number two, because it's fulfilling and it's badass. I mean, it's the amount of the kind of people that I've been surrounded by this whole year has just been an absolute blessing. And then it just keeps getting better. And I thank God and I thank friends like Alice. She was right. I'm gonna credit you too. A little video earlier today I talked about how we were right. We were right. Alice was right there with me about how Trump's like, look, he does this all the time. He'll do something and like a month later, a week or two later, we're like, oh, he's awesome. The same thing just happened, right?
He's got, like a 90 percentile. He'll say stuff and you're thinking, what? And people just doubt it and doubt it. But those of us that have been in the fight and have been following his words, he's usually right on. It's right. It's I don't want to compare it necessarily, but there's been conspiracy theories that go out and you think, oh, that's just really out there. That's far out. And what happens? They come to fruition. So I'm just so glad. I think we're on target with this. Plus, you know what it also is? It honors the true warriors, our veterans, our ancestors that came before us. When they came to this country, it wasn't as easy as like Biden made it. They really had to struggle and do everything the right way. So, in honor to them, we have to keep that mentality, and that's very American, don't you think?
Yeah, struggle is what it's all about. I mean, the founding fathers are actually battling tyranny like directly. Like they were after their businesses, they were after their families, and they had to get up and do something about it. And that's pretty much why I got involved in politics. I didn't have a choice. Like they came after my business, they came after my family, and like not me specifically, but they were targeting a certain a group of middle class, certain group of veterans, certain group of people who were for life. But I think about how President Trump, he did he did go back and forth. He did flip flop. So I'll clarify there. Like
I was uncomfortable with
he
the way he was handling it.
obviously kind of
Sure.
lied, or he could have done a better job being more forthcoming about what he found. Because basically they found that they were screwing with the records, right? They were screwing with the files. They just like they did with the Russia hoax, and they're going to be under investigation for that now too. And he was
Which we're not surprised about.
well, no, we've known that, and that's almost 10 years old, and they're still going back and hammering on. I love that. But yeah, so ultimately it was like how we suspected. There's going to be some good that comes out of this. Don't freak out. Oh, by the way, we got rid of the late night shows. I mean, there's so much amazing stuff happening right now.
Okay, did you ever find, Stephen Colbert, I guess he was funny long ago, but I don't think he's going to be that missed. Did you ever watch him or follow him?
No, the ratings have been gone for a long time. But from what I understand, they've been a lot of that USAID money and all that was going to prop up that illusion. Those shows and that kind of propaganda was there specifically to reinforce the propaganda and the illusion that the Democrats actually have support. But now that they don't have any support at all, the propping up the illusion with billions of dollars isn't worth it at all anymore.
Yeah.
So
Even the network has realized we're not making money off this guy.
no,
I
no,
mean, and they replayed that. Remember during COVID, and he had that vaccine skit,
that
whatever.
really made me not like
I
that guy.
tried to watch that again, and I thought, yeah, I never found it funny originally, and it's even like
It's
it's
gross.
bad.
It's gross.
It's not even. There's nothing to it.
It's just bad.
It's really sad. So, do you think the rumor is the next guy is Kimmel, right?
Kimmel and the other light show too. Yeah, well, I guess Gutfeld has a bigger audience than all of them combined. I mean,
And Gutfeld is funny. I mean, he mixes it up. They're very edgy, and there's actual humor
more cultured.
involved
Yeah, more
there.
cultured. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the guests are more sophisticated. He has real comedians on there. And you know what? I don't have a problem if the other side, the left, uh, makes uh, makes fun of us. That's what we should be able to laugh at. And if it's truly funny, that's great. I like to laugh. You got to keep your humor going. But it's not even funny. It's sad.
Yeah, and that's a good point because I just feel I mean look, if you're a Democrat, I get it. Your dad was a Democrat, your mom's a Democrat. You don't want to get out of it. I'm imploring you, please get out. But if you look at the comedy aspect alone, there really wasn't that hilarious of like lefty comics out there. Like their strong suit is not hilarity. Is not comedy, right? I mean, they have a hard time with memes. They have a hard time being funny. It's kind of like they're out of touch with their humanity in a weird way. Which is why it makes me hard for me to understand how people can identify with the higher levels, the higher echelons of the Democrat Party, which were fooling the Lolita Express. That's who was on those plans, was the executive uh, aspects of the Democrat Party. And so I don't know why you guys support those guys so much. They've just been caught doing so much shady stuff, and they're not funny.
And I just posted something today. I think it was Doc Rich posted it, and I shared it. And it was a montage, I'll call it, of different, and I think they were all women, okay, on the left. And what was interesting to me, of course, they were complaining, and you thought they were going to have nervous breakdowns about, our side. And I did something interesting. Have you ever done this? And I'm guilty of it, okay? I say and like too much. I really do. But these women, I was counting, and a couple of them, in just maybe a couple of minutes, what they were saying, I counted about 13 likes. Well, like, that's something that connects. And I understand that's a younger thing. It really is. But I wonder what it says even about the mentality. Because to put your words together, and surely it's not the first time they've expressed an opinion either. So I'm criticizing even the delivery of their thought. And I guess my point is, it's jumbled. If you have to use that word so much, you're constantly trying to figure your thoughts out. If they're so passionate and so caring about what they think, it should just rattle off. I'm probably being too over analytical.
No, I think that charismatic vernacular is a connection to God, really. And it makes me think about how horrible our education system is here in New Mexico, because when I learned how to write, I had a really hard, I do have a little bit of a learning disability, kind of a big one, but I had a hard time learning how to write. I had a very hard time. So I had to learn how to read really carefully, speed read. I learned how to do that. And then also articulate my thoughts on paper. And it was very, very difficult. But once I learned how to do it, my thinking was a lot clearer. My speaking was a lot clearer. So I wonder about these, I worry about these younger generations that never got that type of writing, that type of training, that type of literacy under their belt. So that's going to stay with them forever. That just never been able to really put thoughts together. It's like, what kind of a logical human being are you? You're not living up to your fullest potential. And that's not to take anything away from people who've never been, philosophically trained on writing like me or whatever. But it does help the way you think when you read often, when you write often. Does it not?
Well, when we had to write, I remember compositions and things like, and you learned cursive, right? At school.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's, I think, a big deal too, because remember Liz Winterroad, former teacher, former candidate, wonderful friend of ours and of the show. And she said that dyslexic children, it's better to teach them to write cursive, how to write in cursive first, because it helps with the flow of thoughts.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the policy is in New Mexico, but there's kids, they don't understand that. Um, my sister had somebody was signing the document, and the younger person just looked like they printed. And they said, "Oh, no, you need to sign, you need to put your signature." that was their signature because they had never learned cursive. And I'm thinking, wow, you could really do some fraudulent, you know, writing there. Uh, so I think you have a big point, and that's always been the criticism. When our school, our education started to go down, it wasn't. It was so much about. I don't think the kids were being taught to think, and not how to think, but to think and process information and make it make sense. It's so important. We need to save our schools here
No,
in
yeah,
New
we're selling
Mexico.
them short. We're selling them short, and it's like I'm not a big college guy. In fact, I've been when I roll around town, I run into like younger guys working at like Chick-fil-A or just younger dudes. I always give them a lot of respect because I respect the hustle. I remember being young like that, and you got to hustle, right? And they're working hard. I can just tell. And they always ask me what I do because I guess because I'm always in such a good mood or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, don't go to college. I'm like, skip university, bro. If you're gonna go
Charlie
to
Kirk did, huh?
yeah, I'm like, dude, go get your trade school, go do some online classes, something you're interested in, and save a bunch of money, a bunch of time. I was like, I got 4 degrees, bro. And I just, the universities are just not good. They're not. Some degrees, of course, you can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer,
Engineer.
engineer, obvious, even business. I had a lot of business training too, and I credit a lot of where I'm at today because of the training that I got. But that's very unique. I think overall, especially these days, man, the trades, plumbing, HVAC, all that stuff, electrical work, man, it's just such high demand because I um, do marketing and I do support local businesses and stuff like that. And when I don't even need to deal with electricians or plumbers or HVAC guys. Those guys are busy as it is. I mean, if you're not busy as a tradesman, it's because you're probably not that good.
Yeah, I was going to say,
You
probably
don't need
not.
to be promoted too hard unless you want to scale. If you want to scale, holler at your boy. I'll help you scale. But the trades you're never gonna be out of work. You're never gonna be out of work, and you'll never not find a wife because girls always need something fixed, right? So
Well, in my generation, the boomers, like, it was natural. The guys like my husband, he's a good fix-it repair guy.
that's right.
He just figures things out, and I think it's of necessity too. My dad was that way too.
Yeah.
He'd fix the cars unless it was something really, really complicated that he didn't want to risk or do. You get in there and do it, and it's something about the way guys'
But he was
brains
World War
work
II
too.
vet though, right?
Yeah, World War II.
Those guys are
My dad.
totally different breed. Those guys are
Oh
they
yeah.
can do everything. He probably knew how to do electrical. He knew how to do everything, probably, right?
Well, like I say, if it was, a little too intense, he wouldn't do stuff that he didn't know how to do. But, you needed something fixed or a garage. Now, a lot of the way that he would fix the car, because, he's uh, Mexican, Hispanic, whatever you want to call him, dad, is with
Wow.
curse words because those worked really good. That's
That's
what I
different.
know, because I'd be there. Sometimes I have such bony fingers. And so he'd say, would you get in there and get that little gadget?
Oh,
Because,
that's awesome.
he had little, so I get into the car and that was kind of cool. But yeah, we used to joke about that. My dad, bless his heart. I miss him so much. It was just his birthday on the 17th, and he and my nephew Chris share the same birthday. My dad would have been 103 years old. So
Happy heavenly birthday to your
shout
father.
out, happy heavenly birthday. But yeah, and people like Zeke, you still guys have testosterone because guys are guys, and women are the nurturers. Guys are the protectors. Sorry, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is,
We're
and
just
it
stronger.
works.
Men are stronger physically. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just
I
what it
would never
is.
try to compete with your guns. Never.
Men rebuild the infrastructure of the whole world. You know what I mean? We maintain the infrastructure, literally all of the utilities, the roadways, electrical. I mean, and I say that because men get the bad end of the stick a lot of the times, and there's really nobody championing men's rights. And I am someone that likes to champion, and I love women too. Most of my supporters are women. Alice knows. I have support from all over, all realms, all races, colors, genders. But I think we could all agree that men have been emasculated largely. There's a severe lack of testosterone in this world, and there's a lot of masculine women out there either. That's not too appealing either. So I think, us finding ourselves and getting into our nature, and living for God. I think that's important. I think that's been forgotten.
Sorry about that. But it started a long time ago, even, and people were, and you guys don't give up. Don't give up your manhood, really. And like I think we were discussing this earlier this week, and I'm going to credit my sister-in-law, who was a special ed teacher in El Paso. And she had kids. She did special ed, which is a really tough field to be in. Was married and doing that. And I remember so wisely, she told me, she says, they sold us a pack of goods with this feminist stuff. They say, oh, you can do it all. You can be out there, you can work, raise your kids. Remember that? You probably don't
Yeah,
remember there was an ad. You can
that's
bring home the bacon and
that's
stir it
messed
up
up.
too, or fry it up too. And it was very difficult. it's too much. I mean, was blessed, and I think you're blessed. Your mama stayed home too, right?
My mom stayed home most of my life. That's right.
And thank God, because it's helped. And you people, I understand it's hard to do it in this world today, but my hat goes off to you, especially the single women that are trying to do it on their
Yeah,
own.
that's tough. It's brutal.
It
And the
really is.
reality is, the single parent homes, the kids have a way higher chance of ending up in jail, not graduating from high school, early childhood pregnancy, substance abuse. I mean, it's actually really bad to be a single parent home. I mean, I hate to, you know what?
It's tough.
People are gonna light me on fire for saying that, but if you look at the statistics, you look at the actual the math, the research, that it doesn't. The data is very clear on that, and so that's why it's important to bring back nuclear family homes and get back close to God and have some morals and virtues. And girls, shouldn't be just sleeping with dudes all random on the first day or two. You know what I mean? Back in the day, you used to have to make the dudes earn it. Like, you better come correct with some freaking nice dates and some rings and get married, and then you freaking, you know what I mean? But nowadays, it's just like throwing yourself out there. And then the guys, they're got problems too. Guys are out there just sitting on the couch all day playing video games, eating junk food. So there's a lot of work we all need to do as a species, humanity, because we've been so distracted with leisure, basically. So I'm out there just trying to do the right thing. I'm not trying to criticize anybody too bad, but come on, let's get our stuff together, guys.
Well,
Come on.
it can be done. I want to say too, I was at Mass last weekend, and I'm noticing, like we've talked about it, more people are returning to God and going to church. And right next to me was a family, and I couldn't help myself. I used to do this back in Phoenix because the families, there aren't as many as you see. And I thanked the daddy there. I said, thank you for bringing your family to church, to Mass. And he said, it was just really good to see. It's encouraging. So we're trying to say, have hope. Hope does not disappoint. It really doesn't. But we probably need to get into the top story, which you did such a nice role on that. A reel, excuse me, I call it a role. So I'm making up baby boomer terms. It was a role and a reel, but you really did a good job with that, because if you watched our show last week, and thank you for your support for doing that, we want to support our guy, okay? We want to support our guy. And I think we're getting there, slowly but surely.
Yeah, it's not looking good for the Democrats, despite everything that President Trump, went back and forth on. Things I didn't like that either. It made me uncomfortable as well. I feel a lot better about it now, But despite all that supposed chaos and turmoil that we just went through as MAGA, the MAGA supporters got hammered this past few weeks, right? The Democrats are still polling horrifically. They're getting worse. It's like nobody and it's just going to keep getting worse, guys. Especially as these Epstein files come out, as all the other stuff comes out. If there was ever a time to jump ship, it's right now. I mean, you're barely. You got one paddle left, guys. You got probably about another month or two before more stuff comes out, and then the Democrat Party is going to be just. I mean, look, they can't raise money. The polls are down.
Polls are bad.
It's just hilarious. I absolutely love this.
And to give some honesty to, I mean, Trump's polls were down also, but they were trying to make us like, oh, it's totally split. And yes, they were down a few points, and that's expected. People get pissed and they walk away. Elon Musk has decided to start a third party, but even that's not getting much traction.
No, it's not getting any traction, actually.
The point of it is, in the end, you have an election today. I'm still voting for Trump. Still voting for Trump because there is no alternative. I still, in my mind, try to figure out, how could the Democrats save their party?
There's no way.
How? What would they have to do? They'd have to become more Republican for sure.
There's just no way they can do it. It would have to be Elon Musk that took over the party. But they have such a stronghold on the whole executive side of things. Like, they couldn't do that. But the main thing is that it's not hard for me to argue that President Trump's going to get a third term anymore right now. And I was crazy for saying that a couple months ago, but now it's like, look. And the big counter argument is always like, oh, it's illegal, it's impossible. Do some quick research, some quick AI research, quick Google research. There's like 4 or 5 different ways that he can do it. The main one of which basically deems him he already earned his third term, is 2/3 of the states to vote. The only states that he lost were states that don't have voter ID. He's implementing voter ID in blue states right now. So theoretically, he's already got it. And everybody's trying to promote J.D. Vance. I love J.D. Vance. I love the freaking guy. What I want is a third term of President Trump. And I'll say that now because I can just see the future already, guys. He's going to kick serious butt. It's going to be astounding. He's just got in there. He's only been in there 6 months.
6 months.
So imagine a year or two from now when the economy kicks in and everything. He's going to get that third term. J.D. Vance takes another 4, 8 years after that. We're solid. We're super solid. This country's changed forever.
And I'm not as convinced as you are about the third term.
Nobody is yet.
Okay.
But you'll get there. We'll get you
And
there.
I'm open though. Like I said, I try to keep an open mind. But even if you just think, like you say, this first 6 months, like if anything, the border, the
Yeah.
border is closed and under control. Now we have a little bit of a controversy here locally because they want to continue the fence, and it's by the Cristo Rey, right? So now the left is trying to say, oh, it's terrible. You can't do that. And when I think about everything, all the effort and money that has gone into the build a wall and how it has made our country safer, because the top priority of our federal government is the safety of its people. That's a top priority. And I really think that the Trump administration, they're on it, man. You cannot say they're not. And Tom Homan, they try to get up there, they try to criticize him, and oh, it's so terrible what you're doing to these people. No, I just saw something where they had Obama, Clinton, and Trump, and actually Obama deported many more people, and even under Clinton too, because at one time the Democrats they knew the importance of that. So I'm very happy with the border. Very happy. If you're not, man, I'd like to know why. People, I've got my trolls. That my trolls are coming back on my Facebook. I'm not sure what that means, but bring it. Really, bring it.
And I know politics, like President Trump, they're all waiting for the very end. But they're gonna do it right here, right before the midterms. They're gonna give us a bunch of gold, and I say that figuratively, but they're gonna release a bunch of amazing stuff so the Republicans get the vote in the midterms. And then come close to again, when he's gonna get up for his third term, we're gonna get a bunch of gold. They're gonna just give us a bunch of goodies that we've earned and deserved and probably should have gotten as Americans decades ago. But once all those goodies start coming in, it's gonna be like, yeah, let's give this guy another shot. That's just my speculation. I could be wrong, and I got a lot of balls for saying that. I know, but hey, I'm on a roll right now.
Stones.
Ball stones, ball stones,
Ball stones.
bones,
Hey, we made up a new term, not gallstones, ball stones.
ballones.
It's balloons.
So yeah, it's just my speculation. I'm a big fan of President Trump, obviously.
He would be 82, but the guy he's got the energy, more energy than I have.
Yeah, he's good.
What about, are you concerned about the latest medical thing with his veins? And the leftists are like, oh my God, oh my God. Yeah, you've heard about that?
Biden had a freaking poop crew. He literally had a poop crew. The CIA was like doing a poop detail. The guys, some whistleblowers came out. So yeah, we spent a lot of our time. They bring him a change of pants and diapers and stuff because he can just at will just poop.
I was going to say, why not just, have some diapers?
So Trump's not even close to that level. So I think he's going to be just fine.
Well, and you and I know people that I know people that are hitting 90 and their brain is on fire. It's amazing. So it's not impossible. I'm going to say this. It's not impossible because nothing is, and our Constitution, there's ways to change things and do things. It could happen. In the meantime, I pray for his health.
I honestly don't see
pray
it
for
not
his
happening at this
administration.
point. I'll put it out there. I don't see it not happening.
And if it doesn't happen, who's your guy?
JD Vance, JD, yeah.
Vance. And we've got some pretty strong Republicans.
Or
within our
or
party.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. I really like her too.
You talk about
She's
ovaries, man.
she's fire.
She's got ovaries
I really like MTG a lot.
for certain.
Those are my top two right there, MTG and JD Vance. I really, really enjoy those two.
She's unafraid. And I'm sorry for having my phone so loud. Hopefully you don't hear it. I want to real quick apologize too. I know our last show, the sound, some of you were having a little bit of problems with sound. So I think it's gotten fixed, but we do appreciate the feedback. We really do. And Zeke is the engineer. He does everything and he does such a great job. And we get no money for this. We do this because we feel like it's so necessary. So I really appreciate everything that Zeke does because it's not easy. I have no technical ability at all. All I have is a big mouth. That's my contribution to this. Speaking of the stuff national.
Did you mute it?
Did I what now?
Did you mute it?
Did I
mute your
mute
phone?
this? Oh, no, but I'll do that right now. Thank you. I'll do that right now. There we go. Thank you. Speaking of our congressman, Mr. Vasquez, okay, he's still in the border and crediting Pinon Post. Vasquez tells illegals how to evade ICE after refusing to condemn the violent riots. And that's the theme of the left. That's what they do. So they're helping criminals, really, because I'm sorry, but if you're here illegally, it's a crime. Why can't you help the white hats, the good guys? What is so terrible about that? How can I have confidence in you to represent me in Congress when you can't even help
Those are their voters. That's what that is.
justice? Yeah.
If President Trump didn't get in there and do these mass deportations, we would have been screwed because all these guys have been voting for Gabe. We're voting for these hard left, progressive, Marxist radicals. It was the whole plan. We're going to replace us with these guys. That's what they did in Europe. They're replacing their countries with immigrants, illegal immigrants. I mean, and they're not going to be coming back anytime soon. They're screwed. I said this the last episode, but I say it again. Like, we're going to have to go over there and save their butt because they don't have a constitution. They don't have Declaration of Independence. They don't have President Trump.
Right.
And most of those countries are already done. They're already taken over. It's already over. So, and then we can jump into the whole Israel thing too. I mean, I don't know how much you know about that, but
You are more well versed in that.
yeah.
I know that you are. I've been trying to listen to Jeff Prather, the Prather Point, more because they cover all that. Didn't what was bombed? Like, didn't they have an accidental bombing or something this last week?
Yeah, well, they've been bombing everybody. I mean, so Israel has a lot of control over America. They're basically committing genocide right now, the way they're killing the Palestinians. And I'm not pro, hardcore Islam, but like, look, it's genocide. They're killing a certain amount of people and they're moving them out of their land. That's exactly what genocide is. They're killing a certain race of people and moving them. And so, it's something that the world is starting to wake up to. I'm very happy and proud to say, even much of Israel, they're blaming a lot of these, they do horrible things too. I was listening to an interview over the weekend, and people who did work with the CIA, work for the government, work with Israel directly. Israel is the most shisty government institution you could ever deal with, and the Israelites, they realize that Netanyahu is a big problem, and basically they have so much money and clout and muscle, they just make everyone do what they want, and they've used us as their shield. So they say and do whatever they want. They bully the world around, and they expect us to clean up their mess, and they're doing the same thing to us. They don't really respect Americans. And I just hope that people start waking up to what's really going on over there in Israel.
What's the latest? How are we? We're still in defense of Israel. It seems like.
Yeah,
That's what our country's
we're so invested in it and that whole thing, but we're getting exploited now. And I don't know what the way out is, but I think the best way out is to realize, like, look, just because they're Jewish doesn't mean they're amazing. Everybody's like, oh, if you don't like Jews, you're Hitler. Like, no, like, these guys are doing horrible things around the world. They're committing genocide right now, and it's inarguable. It's inarguable. They're killing children in mass aid, and there's others like horror stories of like the Israel soldiers, like rolling around in tanks and Humvees and like shooting kids' genitals off. It's on camera. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that, horrible, evil stuff. Raping. They have videos of them, soldiers gang raping dudes and stuff like that. And I just think that I didn't like to learn about this stuff because I always try to focus on my country. But as of recently, I've been really delving into that aspect of it. And
What is where does one person? Where does someone go to get that information?
well, just the guys I listen to, I listen to a lot of Owen Schroyer, a lot of Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson's big geopolitics too. He talks a lot about Israel.
Tucker's been more out there now. Huh?
Russia, Ukraine. Tucker's a Russian specialist, really. But if you know anything outside of America, the Middle East, it all revolves around Israel and Russia. They kind of have a lot of, and China, those three right there are big time. Everything kind of revolves around those three countries. But I just don't want to see us in any more frivolous wars. I think we could all agree on that, right?
Well, that's kind of been what Trump. He doesn't want war either.
Stupid proxy wars that waste all of our tax dollars. I mean, they've just been wasting our tax money, guys, for so long. I'm sick of it. If we were just to reinvest that money into America, even a fraction of it, man, this country would be beyond comprehension.
And it's encouraging too. There have been in the budget. They're working on it now. Not as much as we'd like to. Okay, because if you had in your own household, this money isn't coming in. So sorry, we can't do this. We can't do that. But they are making some progress. Do we want more? Yes, obviously, yes.
Yeah.
There's plenty that we can do. But at least there's something, whereas before there was nothing, it seemed like. Just keep spending that money that we don't have. So that's the Israel report. Any predictions about what might happen going forward?
No, I don't see anything changing over there anytime soon. We just got to get Netanyahu under control. That guy's just running amok right now. The world is changing. And it's really hard to predict anything outside of what's going on with our country. I think America is going to gain more power. I think eventually we will get things under control. Trump has been the man of peace lately. I mean, he's had to bomb a few things. He's pretty good at it actually. But hey, I trust the
Very
guy.
surgical bombings.
Yeah, I trust the guy. I trust the guy. I think his administration is going to do the right thing. We don't want war. Who wants war? Who likes war besides Lindsey Graham? And a lot of the Democrat Party, they love war. They love the industrial military complex, and that's really who's running things. They make so much money on these missiles and bombs and jets and stuff. But our military is so vast. We really saw the power of our military, and they just did that bombing in Iran, right?
Oh yeah.
That was like, and if I saw this like meme where it showed how much jets that we have compared to other countries, it's like tenfold. We're like 10 times better than any country. So once we gain more power and we just peace through strength, uh, and that's going to be the future of America. The other thing too I wanted to talk about, which is I think very important, is the fact that Tulsi Gabbard has deemed Obama someone of interest regarding treason.
That just happened.
It
Yep.
just dropped yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so we got Colbert and all these late shot hardcore lefties guys stepping down, and then we got Obama looking like he was doing some pretty nasty stuff in 2016 with the whole Russian hoax and all that. So I'm saying, guys, the Democrat Party is so finished, guys. It's so done. There's not even any leaders behind them to take their stead. Who is it? Who is it that's going to take these guys? Said Obama, the Clintons. That's like the main Democrats right there.
Yeah, and again, how does Obama get out of it if they have the proof? I mean, again, we suspected, we kind of knew a lot of this stuff already, but this is big. This is huge stuff. And Tulsi's another one. She has ovaries. She's a good person for that position. She really is.
Well, Obama's been under investigation for a long time. Like his birth certificate, they didn't say he's a liar, that it's fake. They just say it's not real. I mean, it's like he's got so much controversy and there's so much fakery. And he was talking about gay stuff. Like it's good to have a gay friend. That came out too on a meme. And then Michelle Obama not too long ago called herself a man too. So I think they're starting to really having to own up to a lot of the lies that they've been living. And you might as well just come out with it.
Did you see? I think Michelle Obama does a podcast with her brother.
Yes, yes.
And so it was a video, probably Benny Johnson had this or something.
Yeah, she talks
I
about
love
that,
Benny
right?
Johnson.
Yeah.
And Obama comes out, and it didn't look like a husband and wife hug. It was just kind of weird because you notice little funky things like that. And it may not be a big deal. You don't, you're not, it's not like you're going to do French kissing with your husband every time you see him or anything like that. But it was very interesting. And for them to start up the podcast, I believe it's kind of an effort. They're trying to do something to save the left. I just don't see it happening. But that doesn't mean that we can just sit back and not do anything. We have to be.
They can't
relentless.
podcast. They can't podcast. Our local politicians here, they're all off of Facebook. None of the Democrat leaders in this area are on Facebook because in Facebook you can hammer people in the comments.
And they do.
And you can hammer them, and they do. So they're not the only one. The only last haven that's left is Instagram, and I still hammer them over there too. And they see other people hammering them over there too. I get more traction on my stuff on Instagram than these guys do over there. And so where are they going to run? They can't do a podcast because anything that they do where they can get hammered, they get hammered. They don't tell truthful things. And even if they say the truth, nobody likes their policies. They're super unpopular. They're on the wrong end of the 80-20 stuff.
Once you really get educated on that, and I'm going to give a quick shout out too. Okay, so CCIA, Coalition of Conservatives in Action. Juan Garcia is the chairman, and he and Sarah Smith were just super advocates to try to get those awful, awful books taken care of in the public schools. I mean, the argument that the left has, well, it's the internet. These kids can get those books on the internet. Well, that's fine. But this is a community standards issue, and pedophilia and other awful things just don't belong there in the middle schools. I'm sorry, but they don't. So I mentioned that because I think it was on Las Cruces Community Watch. Is that what I told you? And they had their picture. It was probably from a YouTube because they would go always in front of the school board to speak about this. And the school board still has those books are still in there in our the school libraries. And somebody was saying, "Oh, they called them deplorable or despicable," I think was the word that they used. And you're talking about commentary, and half the commentary, some people are like, "Well, what did they do?" They weren't even aware still of what they did. And William Bierman, shout out to our friend who's been a guest of ours. He said, these guys are saints in everything that they do. So what I'm saying is, fine, if you don't know what somebody did, that's fine. But find out before you start commenting. And I just, they're both good friends of ours. They're good supporters of the show. And I'm disappointed in the Las Cruces people that just were quick to condemn and didn't seem to really know what they had done. And if you did, good for you. Whatever this is America. You can feel and say whatever you want to. But I just think that these are great people, and Las Cruces is very lucky to have them and this group. By the way, Thursday, 6 p.m., and this Thursday, who's going to be there is the Inspector General for Las Cruces, Tucker, right? Charles Tucker.
Mhm.
And he's going to be there. So if you haven't seen him, he's good information. Basically, this is how I like to explain it. This guy is somebody, if you have things to complain about Las Cruces, right, and the government, that's who you go talk to. Is that kind of a
Las
simple
Cruces is proper.
explanation?
He can't go anything outside the city limits, but he will investigate it. He's a great guy, sound dude. You know, what I'll say about the whole situation with Juan CCA is that community watch group is just a huge nasty echo chamber because I got a hold of that group long years ago and I saw that they were kicking people out, conservative voices out, and filtering in the far lefties a long time ago. So it's just it doesn't represent reality. It's their own little echo chamber. And like, look at our following, look at what I'm into, and like it's like we're more organic, we're authentic. Like nobody can do what we do on an individual level on their side and get the traction that we do because what we do is real. That echo chamber is very dangerous. I got out of it. I got out of that group. And even there, it's an echo chamber. And even in the comments, everybody's like, "Dude, what are you guys even talking about?"
Right.
Like, so don't take it too personal. I do. Juan and Sarah, I can't speak any higher of moral character than those two people. I mean, they are just super smart, super hardworking, super loving, family, Marine, engineer. I mean, these
Solid.
are just like super solid human beings. I really don't know anyone else more solid. And I say that because not only are they solid in their own personal lives and what they've achieved, but they give back to the community on a massive scale. I mean, Sarah and Juan volunteer more than anyone else I know. I can't think of anyone else that deals with the community and the nasty stuff too. The nasty stuff that nobody wants to deal with.
And also, so within that commentary, Juan puts on there, he says, let's go have a cup of coffee. Let's find somebody.
Yeah,
That's how he
he
is.
would do that.
Okay, I want to talk to you. And that's how I want to know, why do you think that way? So since we're on the local level, Las Cruces community, we give credit where credit is due, and you have a good story to tell.
Yeah, I know. I throw Democrats under the bus all the time, and I'm always saying kind of mean stuff, but I do know awesome Democrats, and then they do cool things sometimes. They really do. I think there's like, especially in New Mexico, 10, 15% good Democrats out there. Maybe a little bit more, but that I know of, like especially in the legislature that actually vote like pro-America stuff, it's a pretty good chunk. There's at least a little chunk in there. But last week, if you guys were watching the show last week, I talked about some friends of mine that I grew up with. One of them was involved. He's a business owner. One of them was involved. He was involved in a stabbing, attempted murder. A homeless dude just jumped in his car, started slashing him, slashed his face, tried to kill him. And he went to a local business for help, and they refused him service. And he went to the Walgreens, and they finally got him an ambulance, and they were able to save his life. He gave himself a tourniquet as well because his artery was slashed, and so if he didn't give himself a tourniquet, he probably would have bled out and died. But apparently, this guy's done it many times. He's basically a mass murderer, been running around the streets for a very long time. And God bless my friend. I can't say any names, but there was a news story about it. You were talking about how
Well, it was interesting, as I was telling you, when we talked about it last week, a couple days later, this story appeared, which sounded like what you were talking about, and I texted it to you. That's very interesting.
crazy,
All of a
huh?
sudden,
I
and they
don't.
found the guy.
Yeah, they found the guy, and they were, and I don't know if it was from us saying on the show or what, but they were blown away. I sent it to my friends that were involved with it. They were blown away. They couldn't believe it. But anyway, so they're just like, he's doing okay now. He's healing up. He might be permanently scarred in his face, but he's alive, and he does. He'll be okay. They just don't want it to happen again. So they reached out to me because they knew I have political insight.
The police reached out to you, or
No, the victim of the
victim?
attempted murder, and him and his friend that I grew up with, they said, "Hey, we just don't want it to happen again. Where it happened was behind a church in between a business plaza in a dark alley. Like, is there anything we can do to get it lit up? Because they really believe that if they can just light up the alley. Apparently, there's a lot of dangerous homeless dudes and girls too. Apparently, I don't know, in this dark alley. So I reached out to Councilman Becky Graham, who is a Democrat. We've talked before in the past, and we've disagreed on a lot of stuff. But you know what? She was awesome. She replied to me very fast, and she said, "Hey, we looked into it because of the zoning. It doesn't look like we can help you at all. It's going to have something to do on their end." I'm like, "Hey, that's cool. I just wanted to get some feedback." But like an hour or so later, she emailed me back. She's like, "Hey, we actually did some more research. because of the zoning, like some other specific stuff, we could actually collaborate on something if there's something that you guys want to do as far as lighting and stuff is concerned. So like, so whenever you can, have them reach out to me, and we'll try to work with you guys to get that lit up for. And I'm
Good.
like, and
She did her job.
she did her
Thank you.
job. That's great, you know. And that's what I was saying when you're talking about Councilman Becky Coran with that sign over there on what's it again, the main street?
It's on by the Dollar General on Park Hill and Del Rey,
Yeah,
and it's the Park Hill Estates. It's Rockwall, very popular out here in this area.
yeah.
But something hit it really hard, and half of it's gone.
Somebody drunk. It looks like somebody drunk drove right into it, and it's so unsightly.
It looks so very ghetto.
It's not that hard to figure out, you know. It's like, and when it's seeing how awesome Becky Graham was, the Councilman Becky Graham was, I don't see, and she was responsive. I don't see why she couldn't do the same thing for that.
Well, she did. At least she did respond to my email,
Okay,
Counselor
that's cool.
Coran, and said, it could be tricky and difficult depending who owns that and permits and things like that. And I haven't followed up. I need to follow up again with that. But those are things that, just like graffiti and other stuff, you let them go and people get used to it and they get used to seeing it. But it's a downturn for your community. It does not help your community. Little details like that, you have to pay attention to them. So kudos to your counselor and Becky Coran. I'm going to give you a chance too. Maybe I'll have a report next week. How
Hey,
about that?
I give credit where it's due. I know I throw Democrats under the bus all the time, but in that case, that was silly. And I think, yeah, I feel bad for law enforcement. I wish law enforcement could get paid more. I might have said that already, but just to reiterate that we need to pay these guys more money, because you can only do so much, guys. Like, these guys have families. They want to, they need homes. And so, yeah, shout out to Becky Graham, Councilman Graham. Thank you for that. I really, really appreciate that. And I hope that this city can come around and get some good city councilmen or women elected, because I love this city, I love this state, but man, we're getting overran right here, guys. Oh, President Trump is fixing the elections. He's doing it right now. He's cutting funding for those who are implementing voter ID. I know for a fact that voter ID alone would change New Mexico. I think that alone will change
Oh,
New Mexico.
huge. I think huge. I
Right?
think
I
that's
mean,
a
that's
very
a
good
big
point.
one. They got a lot of people that are illegal living here, guys. They do. And and let's talk about that real quick too. That's a hot topic, right? So I'm a little bit more generous than most conservatives. Like, if you were working here already, you have family here, and you got some sponsors, like the business you're working for is like vouching for you, and you've been an astute person, you can go back to Mexico for a little bit, or wherever you're from, and come back. We can get you back in.
And I think that's kind of the deal
I'm
that's been
cool with
offered,
that.
right?
That's what's out there, yeah,
Right?
and I'm cool with that. A lot of people don't like
Mhm.
that, and I get it. I get it. But for
You're
me,
becoming a valuable member of the community, at
yeah,
least.
yeah, I'm a utilitarian. Like, if you're bringing value in, then you're cool. Like, you're in. But most of these people were lied to. The Biden administration lied to. Like, you come up here, you get all this money, and blah blah. They didn't know that they were being exploited. It was an underclass being exploited to take us over, to replace us, and destroy the infrastructure of this first world country that we built so hard, so long and hard have we worked to build this country of freedom. Look at France. Look at all these countries over there in England. Ireland. They're all just a mess, guys. I used to live in Italy too, and that place was getting bad already. That was back in 2007. I can't imagine what it is now. Some of the most beautiful city, well, the most beautiful cities in the world is a city called Peschiera. It had this really green, beautiful, crystalline water. Came off of an iceberg in the mountains.
Wow.
It was the most gorgeous cities you've ever been to, and it had been overran by radical Islamists. And it was in the news about a year or so ago. And it was just like it was so heartbreaking to see the beautiful city Pesquera is getting demolished. And that's what they want to do here, guys. And the illegals that came up here were not the best. They were criminals, murderers, and the older ones who weren't, they were lied to. And they were probably trafficked up here. They're probably up here against their will. They got to work off that debt as a slave now. And so there's just so many things wrong with the way that they did this. We can bring in people. Me and Alice say it every time. We're pro legal immigration.
Very much so.
But these people were lied to, and when we're all over here, I put out ISIS phone number all the time, and it's because, look, if we don't get ahead of this, guys, we're gonna lose our country. They're being taught to hate America. They're not being taught to assimilate. All they know is they got to vote for this person, and they get more goodies, and that's not right. They're being lied to. So it is what it is.
The left is trying to engineer political prisoners, it seems to
right.
me.
Perfectly
The other
said.
thing, and this is because, I'm kind of a word person, but justice, you know what that is? If you divide that, just ice. Sorry. I had to
man.
mention that. But there are many. I understand that. That's what our country, when they start talking about immigration. But what I criticize the left for, they never want to differentiate illegal immigration from legal immigration. True immigration is legal and done correctly. and there's a way to do that. And we're all about that.
And they never want to acknowledge the fact that we're being invaded. They don't understand the concept of an invasion. Like, it's in our constitution. Like, it's every country since the human history has always had been threatened by invaders and um inciting just separatism from within. So that frustrates me the most. It's like, have you not ever like seen a Trojan horse? Like this is what's going on here, guys. This is
Oh,
not
yeah.
good. They're taking all our resources. They're getting all this Medicaid, all these food stamps. Our veterans are getting shafted. Our middle class is gone, but pretty much non-existent right now. And we've seen this before in the past. And the Marxists, when they get in office, they start killing folks, guys. That's through history. I'm not saying this to be radical, or I'm just educating you guys. People who have Marxist ideology, when they get full total power, they start deciding who does and doesn't get to live. That's straight up. They've killed people who are smart, people with glasses. They just make up any kind of arbitrary. If you're a farmer who owns land, you're gone. Back in the Russian old school Bolshevik days. So,
And there's already an example out there with this Mandami, I think is how you say his name,
oh, that one
running in New York, who is a Marxist. Just the fact that he won the primary, whatever they had, and he is the candidate, it's frightening to me.
That
and
is
in New
scary.
York is when they put up, remember, they put up illegal aliens in these fancy hotels, and yet they've got a huge homeless problem there. And much of that homeless, yeah, there's drug addicts and things like that, and they probably would still be on the streets. But much of that, there are veterans and people. We need to help our Americans first. And why use? And it's your tax money, our tax money. It's just so wrong. How can you trust? I think there's about 4 candidates now that are running. Cuomo's going to go ahead and run also, and then Stilwell, and there's somebody else that I'm leaving out. Oh, it's the current one, Adams. But if that happens, that New York is already in very bad shape. All the people you hear that they don't want to live there. And I haven't been to I would like to go to New York, but right now I don't want to go. I have no desire to experience it.
Yeah, I ain't going over there. I don't even like going to California now. I
Sad.
don't. I heard Denver's really bad too. I know people that's like escaped from Denver, came to New Mexico to escape Denver, and I'm like, what are you thinking, bro? But I guess it's that bad over there. So hey, we got to come together at a certain level. We got to vote. We got to volunteer. We got to pray. Got to love God. And we got to stand up for what's right. And we got to give credit where it's due. And, and you got to share and like this post because it helps the community and helps us out too. Because we like doing this and we want to do it more. The more support we get, the more we do it, the better we get at it.
And thank you for doing that. And we still are growing. Your group, Conservatives of New Mexico,
Yes.
do I have that right?
We're about to crack 900 members probably today.
I was going to say, it probably is going to be 1,000.
It's been about a
before you
month.
know
It took about less than a month to get there. That's pretty awesome.
Lots of
I
good
think it'll
stuff
keep
there.
going.
And if you could also go there and go to our Facebook page, the Chips and Salsa Show New Mexico, that would be great. We do have a website that Zeke put together, chipsandsalsashow.net, right?
.net, yeah, chipsandsalsashow.net. And that's basically just for, if you quickly want to get to the most recent episode or the most recent reel that we put out, it gets you right there. And it's got a little bit of about us and their history between me and Al. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little website. We're going to have some swag on there eventually and some more cool stuff on there. But for right now, it's just a kind of a quick way to check out our content, our most recent content.
We do. We appreciate our supporters so much, you chipsters, because that's why we do this. We do this. And thank you. I know you send me a lot of stuff. I don't always get to it. And if you share it, what's really good? If you share it to your own profile, then it's much easier for me to share it from there, because sometimes stuff is sent and it's not that easy to share on Facebook. I don't know why, if it's just because I'm doing it on my phone or whatever, but that's just a little tip. And I'm not, this is a technical guy. I'm not. I do the best I can, but if you could help us out with that, that's great. But I do appreciate it very much. And just go ahead. If you think, oh, she probably saw it, no, go ahead and send it to me. That's okay. I want to make sure I don't miss it. There's just so much going on right now. Okay, what's going to happen this week that you know about?
You know what? I don't even know. I've been so caught up with life and stuff, but I think this next week is going to be very interesting because of why. I don't know. We're always at war with somebody, and I just think we're going to keep winning. We had a huge big wins yesterday, and it's just like it's going to be worse for the Democrats over and over again. But that's why I try to reach across the aisle. I'm trying to pull you guys in. If you're a Democrat on the fence of switching over to Independent or Republican, I'm your guy. Conservatives of New Mexico is your Facebook group page. And I do allow Democrats to post on that page because I like to see the group throw them under the bus. It's it's a litmus test. It's a gauntlet because look, you have your ideas out there, but you're going to get challenged respectfully by our group about these ideas that are radical. And so,
True.
I mean, the Democrats are just so unpopular right now. I would hate to be a Democrat. I don't know. I mean, it's like,
You know, we should do something. Maybe we could do that on our Facebook page and just say, okay, what's keeping you from changing your party affiliation? Even if you're Democrat, like we always talk about, go independent and try to figure out. Go independent. And now we have the open primary here in New Mexico. So that means you can go to the poll and you can say, okay, I want a Republican ballot or I want a Democrat ballot if you're an independent.
and here's my favorite argument right now. It's kind of always my favorite argument, but it's like they want to throw like there's this weird argument that there's nuclear waste getting dumped in New Mexico that the Republicans are helping or something.
Yeah, we really want nuclear waste in there.
And I'm
for
like,
sure.
okay, what about the 300,000 children that your president let in this border, like that are missing? Like, you can't, like, how could you support that? Like 300,000 children, not including the fentanyl and all the other drugs and all the other cartel murders. And that was brought in by the Democrat Party, guys, heavily. And so why you would want to support that is way beyond me. I don't get it.
Yeah, it was allowed, the open border, and we know
It
what we
profited
speak.
from it. It was a profit thing.
Mm,
There's so much money in this child trafficking, human trafficking. It's lucrative.
it breaks my
And
heart.
all these girls are getting raped, coming over. It's like super bad stuff, guys. And that's the Democrat Party right there,
It breaks my heart.
you know.
Well, I wanted to talk real quick. My good friend, our good friend Ronnie Cisneros sent this to me. The local Doña Ana County Republican Party, they're going to have like a fundraiser. So if you have any items that you'd like to donate, they're going to have this big yard sale. And you can take it to the Republican office. Okay. It's right here, 201 South Solano, Suite D. The fundraiser is going to be August 22nd. And I don't know if I'm going to give out this address, because it's a personal address yet. But, hamburger and hot dogs are going to be served there too. And I have permission to do it, but I'm going to ask you, Zeke, maybe the next time I will. But you can go and drop your items off if you want to donate something there at the office. And they're going to raise some money for the Republican candidates. In fact, Ronnie is going to be running for the city council. He's going to get his paperwork. I think you can do it in August, right? You actually officially sign
August
up.
18th or something like that. Yeah.
Who is a great candidate. He'll be a great candidate. We've got some other good school board candidates too that are going to come up and getting signed up officially. One of them I got to meet, and I consider a good friend now, Christina Johnson, and also Natalie Chadbourne, right?
Chad Bourne.
It's Chadbourne, Born. Okay.
Yeah, she's great. Business owner, hard worker, had a really hard life growing up. She had a crazy life. I mean, it's amazing what God can do for someone's life. I mean, by her upbringing that I learned about is crazy. She's such an amazing person too. I love stories like that. She's just she persevered through so much. And that's a conservative party. You don't hear about this kind of stuff on the Democrat side. You don't hear about that.
Right. And boy, do we need change. And if we can get those offices, the bad thing is not very many people vote in these elections because it's not a congressional vote or a presidential election year. However, that's also a good thing because if you can just get the vote out and really support your candidate, talk to your friends, we can get some wins.
It's not that hard. I'm really going to push it on social media, guys, to get everybody out to vote and participate in these upcoming elections. Because we can do a lot of change if we can get some people out to vote this time around. So you'll see I'm going to do a lot more creative stuff, get people out, get people registered here in the very near future. You will see that. But other than that, I think we're almost running out of time. What else do you want to do?
Yeah, I think so. I can't think of anything else right now. I mean, we could go on for hours and hours. There's so much.
Yeah, there's so much
And then
to
we'll
do.
see what happens. So we're recording the show on Saturday morning, just in case like something breaks when you see it. Like, how come they didn't talk about that? Well, it may not have happened. We can only talk about what we know at this point in time. But thank you again, Chipsters. We really appreciate all of your support.
Yes, we do.
Both in New Mexico. I know my Arizona buddies also. They're wonderful and nice. Even Cali. We got Cali people that watch us all the time and give really great feedback. And we can't thank you enough for that. So please go to, what's the guy that used to say, go to church this weekend?
Go to church,
pray and stay strong.
brush
and
your teeth.
Be a warrior, not a worrier.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's
gonna be our
we
theme.
need more help out there, guys. We need more testosterone. We need more awesome females like Alice.
Thank you.
But yeah, okay, guys, we'll end on prayer. Lord Jesus, as always, so grateful for all the blessings, Lord. And we see that the world is changing rapidly all around us. Our country is changing for the good right now, Lord. And we just pray that you're with us through all these changing times, Lord, and that you're able to give the people the energy, your energy to get through these times of massive, rapid change. And we pray for the children, Lord, here in New Mexico. They have had no representation, and we are the lowest scoring in child well-being in the country, Lord. And I just pray that all of our efforts go towards them as well, Lord, so they're not forgotten. And just thank you for all the blessings to get us here and share our message with the Lord, with the community for you, Lord. It's all for you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Nicely done. Thank you,
Cool.
Zeke.
Thank you, guys.
Wonderful week, everybody.
See you guys
We love you.
soon.
Take care.
Bye. Do a thumbs up, please, so I can take pictures.